Eating and drinking are for sustenance. You can eat rice, bread, or pasta, drink water, soda, it's all the same. If you can't, I can use toys. Same result. My bluntness made him snap, either sleep or get out. Fine, fine, sleep it is. The next morning, Ethan was gone, despite his disability. He was up early working. Chloe I'm handing over control of the household to you. Whoa, hold on. Isn't there a housekeeper for that? Leave it to the professionals. I don't know the first thing about managing a mansion. This marriage was just a business deal. Of the $200 million dowry the Hunts gave, only $500,000 actually made it to me. The rest bailed out my dad's failing company. If I took on this role, I'd be stuck running the mansion 24/7, and I still had side hustles to grow my retirement fund. Remembering that, I looked sheepish. Honey, will you give me an allowance? Ethan's expression was unreadable. Yes, I'll give you a secondary card later. Can you just transfer the money to my account instead? How much do you want per month? He asked flatly. Since room and board were covered, I shouldn't be greedy. Just enough to match what I used to get at home. 10,000. Ethan stared at me in surprise. I met his gaze nervously. Was that too much? Asking for money the day after the wedding was probably rude. 5,000 is okay too. He sighed. I'll transfer 50,000. Wait, 50,000. I froze for a second, then jumped up, leaning over to hug him and planting a kiss on his cheek. Thank you, honey. I raced out of the room and ran up and down the hallway 3 times to calm myself down. Honey, what day of the month will the allowance come in? The 10th, he said, his ears turning pink. 3 days later, we went back to my parents' house in Chicago for the post-wedding visit. Ethan cleared part of his schedule to help me pick out gifts. I need to use the restroom. Wait here. Halfway through shopping, I told him. He nodded, looking amused. In the short time I was gone, Ethan got into trouble. What do you think you're doing? Bullying my husband cause he's in a wheelchair? I pushed through the onlookers, hitting the red-haired guy grabbing Ethan's collar with my purse. I knelt down to check on him. You okay? Ethan shook his head. I'm fine. Who's bullying him? You, his wife. Perfect pay up. He broke my phone. It's brand new. Cost $800. The redhead yelled at me. I ignored him, turning to Ethan. What happened? He was texting and not watching where he was going. Ran into me, and now he's trying to scam me. Ethan's voice was cold. That's a lie. It was obviously. You believe this stranger over your own husband? I put my hands on my hips, cutting him off. You dropped your own phone and thought you could rip off a guy in a wheelchair? Really? He tripped me. He owes me money. You weren't looking where you were going. I should be suing you for almost hurting my husband. Lucky he's okay, otherwise, you'd be bankrupt. Quit being unreasonable. I don't have time for this pay up. You say it's his fault? Where's the proof? Stop making false accusations, otherwise, I'll sue you for defamation. I was in the middle of arguing with the guy when Ethan tugged at my sleeve. Honey, there's a security camera over there. I caught on immediately, pulling out my phone. Since there's a camera, it must have caught everything. Let's call the police. If my husband really hit you, we'll pay and apologize. But if you're scamming us, you'll pay for the phone and write a 3,000-word apology letter. The redhead's face paled. Guilty. He muttered some insults and stormed off. Didn't know you were such a good arguer, Ethan said, grinning teasingly. I preened. Don't mess with me. That was just a warm-up. I haven't even brought out my A game. Noted. I could have sworn his smile softened a little. It was the first proper meeting between Ethan and my family since the wedding. Dad was home from the office. My siblings were around. And Mom cooked her famous apple pie. We ate lunch awkwardly but politely. Afterward, my siblings went to their rooms. Mom watched TV in the living room, and I played with the dog in the backyard. Chloe, coming back with me now, or want the driver to pick you up later? Hearing Ethan's voice, I felt a sudden wave of relief. Let's go together. Staring out the car window at the Chicago skyline, I felt a fleeting sense of rootlessness until Ethan leaned over, startling me out of my thoughts. What are you doing? I frowned. He looked confused, continuing to fasten my seatbelt. Securing your seatbelt. Did you forget? Why bother with a seatbelt in the backseat? Seatbelts are mandatory everywhere. He wouldn't take no for an answer. I pouted. Guilty. You ruined my mood. Gimme a raise and allowance. Ethan ignored my tantrum, and the car fell silent. After a while, he spoke casually. You don't get along with your family, do you? It's not that. I scratched my cheek, sighing. I was adopted and just reunited with them 2 years ago, as the eldest daughter. I'm supposed to take over the family business someday, so they see me more as a competitor than family. I can't get too close. Family's just a bond forced by blood. I don't envy that kind of connection. I rambled on, but Ethan just replied flatly, I really don't envy it. I insisted, glaring at him. He kept scrolling through his phone, unaffected. I get it. Stop yelling, you'll distract the driver. Typical emotionless business husband. Couldn't even pretend to comfort me. I grumbled to myself, pulling out my phone to play Candy Crush. Then I saw for 50,000 transfers in my bank app. My eyes widened like saucers, and I grinned from ear to ear. I pounced on Ethan. Thank you, baby. Chloe, get off your heavy. My legs will break again. He yelled, but his hands gently held me after a week of slaving away. I finally finished the custom jewelry order for my client. Stretching, I wandered into Ethan's home office. It was 10:30 p.m., And he was still buried in work, working yourself to the bone again? You already messed up your legs, you want to ruin your kidneys too? No more late nights. Go shower and sleep. Just let me finish this report. Fine, I'll run your bath water. It had only been a month since we got married, but it felt like we'd been married for 10 years. Living together without feelings was just boring. Was it because we weren't intimate? Did that stuff really make that big of a difference? If we were gonna spend the rest of our lives together, this routine had to change. I stared at the running water, lost in thought. When Ethan got into bed after his bath, I made up my mind to shake things up. After all, he was insecure about his condition and too shy to make the first move. I needed to be bold and encourage him. Besides, physical pleasure didn't have to be traditional. Maybe with a little practice, we could both be satisfied. Honey, I've been wanting to, I purred, taking his hand and sliding it downward. At first, Ethan froze. When he realized what I was doing, he pulled his hand back like he'd been burned. I need some air. He tried to escape. I rolled on top of him, pouting. I just want to be closer to you. Are you saying you don't want to spend the rest of your life with me? He sighed softly, looking into my eyes. Chloe, are you sure? No regrets? I'd thought long and hard before marrying him. Over the past month, I'd realized he was a good man, disabled or not. Spending the rest of my life with him didn't sound so bad. I'm sure, no regrets. I smiled and nodded. We're going to Grandpa's for his birthday dinner tonight. The driver will pick you up at 5. Why didn't you tell me earlier? I haven't prepared anything. Prepared what? Makeup, nails, hair, an outfit plus a gift for Grandpa. I already got the gift. Just come as you are, they won't mind. Talking to was impossible. It was PM now, cutting it close, but doable. When I walked out all dolled up, Ethan stared at me blankly. I twirled around, grinning. Well, aren't you blown away? Not exactly. He coughed, looking away, his tone awkward, just more feminine than usual. Didn't waste your time, I guess. I shouldn't have asked. You're like a caveman who can't appreciate fine things, I huffed, storming into the car, missing the fond smile on his face. Ethan's mom had passed away when he was young, and his dad had remarried soon after, having another son, as the saying goes. With a stepmom comes a stepdad. The already strained relationship between Ethan and his father had only gotten worse with his stepbrother in the picture. Ethan had been sent to live with his grandparents as a teenager, losing all warmth from his father, only receiving a cold $5 million check every year. Grandma had told me all this. The kind old lady had given me a priceless set of jewelry as a welcome gift. I tried to refuse, but she insisted. Downstairs, Ethan met me. What did Grandma want? Lady stuff. None of your business. I happily pushed him into the living room, where we sat with Grandpa watching the news. The warm moment was shattered when Ethan's father and his family walked in. We appreciate you coming, but you're busy. Feel free to leave if you have things to do. Ethan and Chloe are here to keep me company. Grandpa wasted no time in dismissing them. Their seats still warm. Ethan's stepbrother Jake, sensing the tension, quickly tried to smooth things over. Grandpa, you're joking. I know you're upset Dad doesn't visit often, but he's really busy. He cleared his schedule just for your birthday and picked out your gift personally. Grandpa and his father had never gotten along, but blood was thicker than water. He snorted, softening his stance. The living room felt suffocating, so I snuck upstairs to the balcony, planning to stay there until dinner, but my peace was short-lived. Sister-in-law, enjoying the moon alone. I didn't want to talk to Jake, so I replied coldly, the moon's beautiful, but not as beautiful as you. I cringed internally, his cheesy line giving me goosebumps. Most people would take the hint and leave, but Jake was clearly a creep. He kept going. Lucky brother, marrying such a beauty. I don't know if I'll ever find someone as gorgeous as you. He sighed, eyeing me up and down lecherously. I'd always hated him on sight. Turns out my intuition was right. I'd had enough. I slapped him hard. Respect your elders. Your brother is like a father to you, and I'm like a mother. How dare you hit on me? Jake stared at me in shock, holding his cheek. You hit me? What? Gonna hit me back? I tilted my chin up, leaning closer. Go ahead, I dare you. I'll scream so loud the whole family will hear, and you'll be the one in trouble. I'm not stooping to your level. You shrew. He stormed off, seething. Gross. I spat at his retreating back, only to see Ethan in the courtyard below, his face dark with anger in the shadow of the trees. Is the plan going smoothly? Find an excuse to lower the price a bit more. No rush to sell. Wait until they buy up all the shares. Put other projects on hold and focus on this. No issues so far, but I want to wrap it up early. I'd woken up to use the bathroom in the middle of the night and heard Ethan talking on the phone. Curiosity overpowered sleep, and I crept out to listen. Hearing footsteps, Ethan spun his wheelchair around. Seeing it was me, his guarded expression relaxed slightly. Did I wake you? I shook my head. No, just had to pee. He rolled his eyes. I pushed him back to his room after a brief conversation. He hung up. Why do you have that? Winter is coming. Let's take down Hunt Enterprises. Look. I eyed him suspiciously. Don't tell me you're gonna destroy Jake just cause he said you're not good enough for me. I'd ranted to Ethan about Jake's harassment when we got home, and he'd seemed unaffected. Turns out he'd been plotting revenge behind the scenes. What goes on in that head of yours? Fratricide for you? He scoffed. Good. I was worried I'd turn into a femme fatale. I patted my chest, pretending to be relieved. He rolled his eyes. Don't flatter yourself, you don't have what it takes. Can't you say something nice? I huffed, slipping my hand under his shirt to feel his toned abs, comforting my wounded ego. He grabbed my wrist. Stop messing around, sleep, I pouted. Fine, after a pause. I spoke up again, honey. Leave your dad some money for retirement, okay? I suggested carefully. He ruffled my hair, his voice soft. Sure, it had been 2 weeks since we'd had a meal together. Ethan had been swamped with work. I knew he was playing a long game, one he'd been planning for years. And it was finally coming to an end. That day, after shopping at Rodeo Drive, I passed Hunt Enterprises and decided to surprise him with a visit. As luck would have it, I walked in just as he was arguing with his father. I know you don't like him, but he's your brother. Are you really gonna let him rot? It's just 80 million, you have that kind of money. Once Jake gets through this, he'll pay you back with interest. We'll sign a promissory note. His father sounded arrogant, nothing like someone begging for a loan. You give me too much credit, father. I wish I could help Jake, but I'm strapped for cash myself. The company's been in the red for months. I'm barely keeping it afloat. Ethan looked miserable. Hey, I'm asking for a little money and you start playing poor. Brothers should look out for each other. Act like an elder brother. When your mother and I are gone, he'll be your only family. Who else will help him? Figure something out. When his father's authority didn't work, he resorted to emotional blackmail. He's in trouble and you're bending over backward to help. When I was struggling, you never lifted a finger. Am I not your son? If you want to save Jake, find a way yourself, take out a loan, sell the company, your house, your car. Just leave me alone. Ethan looked fed up, showing him the door. How could I have such a cold-hearted son? Seeing Ethan's resolve, his father stormed out. After saying that, I waited 2 minutes before stepping out from around the corner. In the office, Ethan's back looked lonely as he stared out the floor-to-ceiling windows. Honey, I chirped, trying to sound cheerful. I came to see you. What are you doing here? He rolled over to me, his expression already composed. Just passing by. I sipped my matcha latte. Want some? It's a new flavor. He made a face but took several big sips. After hesitating for a while, I finally asked, saw your dad earlier. What did he want? He came to yell at me for Jake. I hadn't expected him to be so honest. I thought he'd brush it off. Are you upset? A little. I held out my arms. Want a hug? We have the cutest height difference, it'll be super cozy. Get out. He pointed to the door, his voice flat. Okay. I obeyed, but turned around at the door, grinning. Come home for dinner tonight? I'll be lonely alone. He crossed his arms, pretending to be indifferent. We'll see, if I have time. Chloe, is that your husband? My best friend tugged at my arm, nodding in a direction. Sure enough, it was Ethan. For once, his usual stoic face was wearing a soft smile. The woman across from him looked familiar, even behind her large sunglasses. My friend assumed Ethan was cheating, rambling on about how unfair it was. I knew he didn't have the chance, but when I saw the news later that night, I lost it. Paparazzi had snapped photos of Ethan having dinner with his ex-girlfriend, Leela. Most of the comments were shipping them, completely forgetting he was married. Even the few who remembered kept gushing about how Ethan was expanding into entertainment to support Leela, silently guarding her even though they couldn't be together. A sweet, tragic love story. Everyone ate it up. I thought of Ethan's soft smile. He really did love Leela, didn't he? I never should have been his wife. Our marriage was built on money, not love. It wasn't too late to back out and do the right thing. I quietly placed the divorce papers on his desk in the study. After 3 years, I'd saved enough for retirement. I was willing to leave with nothing. Chloe, you want a divorce? Ethan raced to find me in his wheelchair, slamming the papers down in front of me. It was the first time I'd seen him so furious. The sheer intensity of his anger scared me. Why yes, I stammered. He clenched his fists, his face dark as a storm. Why? Huh? I stared as he suddenly stood up, my shock quickly turning to confusion. Medical miracle. Does asking for a divorce cure paralysis now? Your legs, they're better? Really better? I tried to get out of bed to check, but he pushed me back down, leaning over me with a sneer. Keep playing dumb, and your husband will slip away. One more chance. Still want a divorce? No, no divorce. I shook my head frantically. Why did you even consider it? His deep voice snapped me out of my shock. He'd been so angry earlier. If I didn't give him a good answer, I was in trouble. I told him everything I'd seen and heard, adding softly, you and Leela rekindled your romance. I wanted to leave with dignity. Chloe, are you out of your mind? It was just a coincidence we ran into each other at a restaurant. If it was just dinner, why were you smiling at her so softly? Because we were talking about you. I couldn't help smiling. He gritted his teeth, admitting it reluctantly. I fought back a grin. You're not expanding into entertainment for her? No, I'm a businessman. I just want to make more money. Netizens said you broke up with her to not hold her back. He fell silent for a moment, his voice cold. She's the one who left me. Said I was a burden. Oops, I'd hit a nerve. I wrapped my arms around his neck, looking into his dark eyes seriously. You were never a burden. Thank her for leaving. She gave me the best gift of my life. I'm sorry I misunderstood you. I always thought our marriage was fragile without love, that it couldn't survive the smallest storm. His eyes softened, and he smiled. I was planning to work on our relationship, but you apologized so quickly. Now I'm stuck. It wasn't fragile at all. Our marriage had started with no love, but somewhere along the way, feelings had quietly grown. After Leela entered the industry, she'd milked her past relationship with Ethan for all it was worth, creating drama and gaining clout. Instead of denying the rumors this time, she'd fueled them with vague posts, staying trending for days and landing a new endorsement deal. Ethan was married, and she was still leeching off him. It made me furious, especially knowing she'd been the one to dump him. I immediately created 2 social media accounts, one pretending to be Ethan, the other for myself, with matching couple avatars and usernames. On my account, I posted our daily sweet moments. On Ethan's, I mostly liked and shared my posts. It didn't take long for netizens to notice. Tabloids ran with the story, stirring up drama. The tide turned quickly. Leela went from being the white moonlight to a homewrecker. Some fans and casual onlookers even called her a cheater. Leela's team must have been monitoring the backlash. Her posts about the romance disappeared, and the trending topics died down. I hadn't even confronted her directly, it was just a warning. I hoped she'd get the message. Leela called me. "What did you do?" Ethan asked, smiling. Instead of answering, I shot back. "Did she complain about me?" He shook his head. "No. She apologized." "Hey, nothing major, I just subtly claimed what's mine." "Good job." He ruffled my hair. I knew she was using our past for publicity, but I didn't care enough to stop her. "I'm sorry it upset you." "No need to apologize, I fixed it myself." "Want to make me even happier?" "Sure." I jumped into his arms, blushing. "Let's have a baby." "Absolutely." Epilogue. Ethan's perspective. Dad wanted me to marry the miller's daughter to get their company's core technology. I never expected Chloe to be nothing like I imagined. She didn't tiptoe around me, and she didn't look down on me. She treated me like a normal person, but when I was in trouble, she'd step up without hesitation, defending me fiercely. Chloe had the strangest ideas. Like right now, she'd made me sit on the couch while she climbed into my wheelchair. She touched everything curiously, figuring out how to operate it in minutes. I watched her grin as she zoomed around the living room. When she got tired, she stopped beside me, impressed. "This electric wheelchair's pretty fast, super handy." After visiting her family, I realized Chloe wasn't close to her parents or siblings. I found out she'd only been reunited with them recently. They hadn't formed a real bond yet. I guess that's why she'd agreed to marry me. Staring awkwardly at strangers was easier than staring awkwardly at family. I thought of my own strained relationships, and I felt a surge of affection for her. She loved money, so I'd transferred $200,000 to her account with a straight face, hoping it would cheer her up. I'd planned to stay married for a few years then get a divorce, but Chloe had mentioned wanting to grow old with me. She might have been joking, but I'd taken it seriously. I started rehab, following the doctor's orders religiously. I didn't want to be the old guy sitting on the sidelines while Chloe danced at her classes. No way was I letting those old men flirt with her. My legs recovered faster than expected. I practiced walking in secret, going from shuffling to striding confidently. I'd kept it from Chloe, planning a big surprise, but before I could tell her, she hit me with a bombshell. She wanted a divorce. I was so angry I couldn't stay seated anymore. Thankfully, it was just a misunderstanding. In the end, the joke was on me. I'd married her for business, but she'd stolen my heart without even trying. To pad my retirement fund, I volunteered to marry the disabled tycoon that my siblings all avoided like the plague. I'd treated him as my best guy friend for 3 years, finally saving enough to live comfortably for life. When I brought up divorce, he suddenly shot to his feet. I craned my neck to look at him, stunned. Medical miracle. He sneered, "Keep playing dumb, and your husband will slip away. One more chance, still want a divorce?" "Mom, Dad, are you really gonna throw me into the fire?" "Yeah. The hunts are loaded, but their eldest son's a cripple. Marrying him will ruin your life, sis." "I don't want to either, but the company's desperate for cash. Just endure it a few years, then we'll get a divorce." Watching my worried parents, furious brother, and tearful sister, I who'd been watching the drama unfold decided to step up. I raised my hand high. "I'll marry him." At my words, my parents stopped sighing, my sister quit crying, and all eyes turned to me. I quickly clarified, "I mean it. I don't believe in love. Marriage is just marriage. Marrying Ethan Hunt will solve our family's emergency, so why not?" "Good girl." Dad murmured approvingly. What had been a heated family argument one minute was settled the next. A month later, Ethan and I tied the knot in a grand wedding at the Plaza Hotel in New York City. By the time the guests left and we got back to his Beverly Hills mansion, it was already PM. I raced to the bridal suite first, swapping my cumbersome red toast dress for loose loungewear, then dashed downstairs to the kitchen and grabbed a palm-sized slice of red velvet cake. As I gobbled it down, Ethan rolled his wheelchair into the kitchen. He frowned slightly at my ravenous look. "Are you hungry too? Want some? This cake's amazing." After sipping a refreshing lemonade, I tucked a small piece into his hand and cut myself a huge slice. "Are you that hungry?" Ethan looked perplexed. "Absolutely," I replied with a full mouth, lifting my shirt hem to prove it. "See?" My stomach's growling loud enough to hear Chloe. He suddenly raised his voice, calling my full name. I jumped, sheepishly setting down the glass of Merlot in my hand. "It's just a bottle of wine, no need to yell." "Stingy much? We're married now. Can't I have one drink?" Grumbles aside, after Ethan finished his cake, I dutifully pushed him back to his room. "Need help? Are you sure you can shower alone?" I leaned against the bathroom door, skeptical. "I'm fine, get out." He sounded a little irritable. "Okay. Left your pajamas and towel here. Ethan's daily care had originally been handled by his housekeeper, but now that I was his wife, it felt inappropriate for the housekeeper to enter his room, so I'd taken over. I closed the door gently and flopped onto the bed, scrolling through my phone. Our wedding had even made it to the entertainment section. I clicked on the comments, and opinions were all over the place, not gonna lie. The bride and Mr. Hunt make a cute couple. Sobbing my OTP is over. I thought Mr. Hunt would end up with Leela. This girl's so desperate for money she'd marry a cripple and live like a widow. Money talks, I guess. Even a disabled guy can marry a hot wife. Leela posted a new update. You can tell she still hasn't gotten over Mr. Hunt. Why God? Why? Who was Leela? I was dying to know. Curiosity got the better of me, and piecing things together, I finally figured it out. Leela was a rising Hollywood starlet, Ethan's ex-girlfriend. After he got into a car accident and lost the use of his legs, he'd broken up with her to not hold her back. So she was the ex. Out of curiosity, I checked her Instagram. No wonder she was famous. She was stunning. Looks-wise, she and Ethan were a match made in heaven. Too bad their love story ended in heartbreak. That said, her new post, "Goodbye, my love. Tomorrow I set sail," was just a lyric, right? How did netizens twist it into her still pining for Ethan? Ethan, fresh out of the shower, pulled me out of my gossip spiral. I put down my phone, stole a glance at him, and hesitated. Should we consummate the marriage? Ethan froze, then his face darkened. "Chloe, have you no shame? What's shameful about it? It's like eating or drinking, basic human needs. Besides, we're married now, can I ask?" He clearly hadn't expected me to be so bold, and he sputtered for a few seconds before slumping back. "It's been a long day, aren't you tired?" Sleep, as he dodged the question. I couldn't help thinking about the widow comments. He only hurt his legs, surely that didn't affect other things. But what if it did? I had to test him. "I'm good, I can handle a little exercise. If you're tired, I'll take the lead since you're not convenient." I wasn't just talking. I started yanking at his silk pajamas. "Chloe," he shouted, his handsome face turning bright red, eyes sharp with warning. "Sorry." I quickly scrambled back, lying stiff as a board, but I couldn't fall asleep. The question of whether he was impotent kept swirling in my head. Maybe I should just ask outright. Married couples should be honest. Plus, I didn't want to drive myself crazy over it. "Honey, I need to ask you something serious. Promise you'll tell the truth?" I rolled over to face him. Ethan paused mid-motion of turning off the lamp, glancing at me coldly. "Spit it out. Can your third leg still stand? Are you really tired, or are you avoiding it?" "Chloe, you." His chest heaved with anger. Seeing he wasn't gonna hit me, I inched back closer, staring at him eagerly. "Well?" After a long silence, he spoke, his voice low and heavy. "I'm sorry. I'm holding you back. I can't give you what you need. You can see other men, just don't let me find out." My eyes widened. I braced for the worst, but his words still hit me like a punch. I hadn't expected him to be so understanding. His resignation made me regret prying. "Ethan." Now it was my turn to yell. "We might have a marriage of convenience with no feelings, but don't degrade yourself for me. That stuff isn't that big of a deal." He didn't look the least bit touched by my outburst. Instead, he echoed my earlier words mockingly. "You said it's like eating or drinking. How is that not a big deal? Talk about instant karma." I stuck my chin out, defending myself.